Today we are going to talk about the company we are looking for is the H&M, a leading fast fashion company. And as you can see from the background, so we set this goal as to pursue the growth of sales by 15% annually. That is based on the estimation that the global market will grow with a rate of nearly 5%. And H&M, as a leading global company, we think it can accomplish this goal by 50% increase rate. And as H&M has different positions in different markets, including emerging market and developed market, we think it also should set subsidiary goals, such as in developed market, it should maintain its leading market share. However, for emerging market, it should become the top player through pursuing both growth of market size and market share. And we work out two strategies. The first one is target at the developed market. We think it can defend sales by adapting to a new customer group and reorganize its current brands. Also, for the emerging market, we think it can continue to expand in that market, but with a focus on the second-tier cities, and also conduct product localization and working with the local online retail platforms. So that will be the structure of our slides. First, we'll talk about the market industry competition review and what we're facing, and then what strategy we come up with and why. First, let's take a look at the whole picture of the market. So we think that the whole market, with a market size of $1.7 trillion, the whole market is still growing with an annual rate of over 4%. And however, when we take a further look at their major competitors, including Inditex and Gap, we can find that the market is quite fragmented, as these large players each only have nearly 1% of market share. And the whole market actually is targeting at young female consumers, as they are the target of important group who will purchase more frequently and spending more on clothes. So we do second work into that target group, naming them as Alexandra, and they will be female aged from 16 to 24, and they will be either students or young professionals, and they emphasize appearance, and they have three major needs, including fashion, budget, and variety. And H&M currently adopts several strategies to satisfy their need. For instance, they conduct design collaboration, working with celebrities and famous designers to work out trendy products. And they maintain the low price to attract this group with limited purchase power. And also, they conduct product expansion by creating new products such as sportswear and entering new markets such as H&M Home and H&M Beauty. So now my colleague Cam will talk about the other overview.
Thank you, Huishan. So let's take a look at the competitive landscape to see what we're facing, what we're up against. We mentioned earlier that the fashion or apparel industry is a $1.7 trillion business. It is understandably large because, well, everybody needs to wear clothes. But there are different types of companies that serve different types of customer needs. We differentiate these needs based on the target age group of the customer and the general price point of the clothes. And when we do that, we can see 5 different distinct strategic groups appear. We start with on the top right with the traditional haute couture brands such as Christian Dior and Chanel. These are some of the most famous clothing brands, and these are the ones that you will see hosting fashion shows each new fashion season. And these companies seek to produce innovative designs, and they drive fashion creation. The clothes are very expensive and are generally aimed at an older audience. Right next to them, here on the left, we see the traditional fashion brands, and these include Ralph Lauren, Coach, and Kate Spade, for example. These companies operate based on the same general logic as the haute couture brands, but strive to make their clothes more accessible to everyday consumers with lower prices than the haute couture brands. They still conduct a lot of their own design operations, but spend less expense on this than the haute couture brands, and so have a lower price point in general. Next to those, we see the sports apparel strategic group. Here you can find Nike, Adidas, and your standard sports apparel companies. These companies serve a specific need for all age groups, almost, and are generally less expensive than traditional fashion brands as well. The emphasis is on performance and comfort as well as design. Next to the sports apparel, you see the fast fashion strategic group, which is the one that includes H&M as well as our competitors, which include Gap and Uniqlo. What our company does is operate at a lower price point and targets a younger age group, and this strategic group calls itself the fast fashion industry. H&M and its competitors are not fashion creators, but rather fashion followers. The idea behind this business model is to observe what the other fashion companies are doing, so for example the haute couture and the traditional fashion brands, and to understand sort of how customer tastes and needs are changing. And based on these analyses, the idea is to quickly produce similar products and produce cheaper alternatives in the same style as quickly as possible. The emphasis is thus not on in-house design, but rather on the lowest lead time or the lowest time to market, based on what you observe in other companies. So this is reflected in the strategic group's value chain, whereas most traditional other fashion companies focus on design and usually contract the actual manufacturing of the products to independent suppliers. Fast fashion companies need to be in constant communication with their suppliers, and so they pursue some form of integration with their suppliers in order to facilitate that. H&M, for example, chooses to do this in terms of visual integration. So H&M doesn't own its suppliers, but it does work closely with them in order to work out strategies and to ensure that the clothes that are designed come to the market as quickly as possible. Other companies in this strategic group can pursue different strategies. For example, Inditex wholly owns, as part of vertical integration, about 75% of its suppliers. This comes with a few trade-offs. In H&M's case, this means that we have lower costs, and we also carry less inventory because we don't wholly own our suppliers. However, Inditex, by vertically integrating with some of its suppliers, can ensure even more efficient communication within the firm, and can sometimes show a shorter lead time than we can. In either case, with this industry structure, whether suppliers are fully owned or not, the retailers have the highest bargaining power, allowing them to capture the greatest share of profits in the value chain. And here is a brief overview of the strategic group and our main competitors within it, as well as some of their main brands. So here on the left you see H&M, that's us. Our main brand, by far the leading brand, is H&M. We have 5 other brands that are less well established, and most of our sales and most of our operations are geared towards the main brand. Inditex, on the other hand, which is our main competitor, which you can see here, has several established brands such as Zara and Massimo Dutti, which you may have heard of. Gap owns Banana Republic and Old Navy and Athleta, as well as its main brand, and Japan's Fast Retailing, which owns Uniqlo, is a relative newcomer to the group, but has grown very quickly in recent years. In sales, H&M and Inditex compete for market leadership, with the number one spot switching depending on the year. The others are a little further behind. An important trend to note, however, is that each company relies on its home region for the vast majority of its sales, and much of their sales outside their home region go to other developed markets. However, that's not the full story, and we still face some challenges. Here to talk about those is Huishan.
Yeah, so for H&M as a leading global company, it must have some strengths to help it to become the top player, such as it has price advantage and a strong brand awareness, as well as its quick response to the market thanks to the virtual integration. However, it also faces some opportunities and challenges, such as online shopping and the rise of emerging market, and also the aging population, which can pose a threat to their sales in some developed countries. So Kang will first talk about our strategy.
Thank you, Sean. So our first strategy involves developed markets. We thought it would be best to separate different strategies for the developed and developing markets. Because we face different challenges in each market, and because the specific strategies needed to counter these will be different. So in developed markets, we aim to defend sales growth and market share in two different ways that complement each other and can both work separately. On the customer side, we propose that we should anticipate demographic trends in developed markets and adjust our target customer accordingly. And on the brand side, we propose that we should serve different customer segments more efficiently by streamlining the positioning of the brands in our portfolio currently. So, if you recall from the market overview slides, the vast majority of H&M sales are in its home market of Europe. About 76% of sales are in Europe. A demographic trend in Europe that is starting to make headlines is the rapid aging of the population. The median age in most European countries is already over 40, compared to about 35 for the US and 27 in a country such as India. The median age is growing very quickly. According to an IMF study, this is driven by four main factors. It's quite a technical paper, but basically the main points are that fertility rates are way below population replacement rates. The baby boom generation is aging right now, entering its old age. Life expectancies continue to rise, and migration inflows of young people are not large enough to offset the aging of the native European population. The same study that forecast that in 2050, 40% of the EU's population will be over the age of 65. Due to low birth rates, there would also be a drop in the number of younger people, both in relative and absolute terms. This is a big threat to H&M because our target customer, I think you met Alexandra in the market overview slides, is young, and the absolute number, again, of Alexandras in Europe is falling. Since Europe accounts for 76% of our sales by value, if we use the same projection as the previous study, we see that our net sales per year in Europe should decrease by over $2 million per year by 2050. Germany, by the way, is by far our biggest market, 26% of sales, and is also the country that is aging the most rapidly. The median age there is already about 45 years and increasing rapidly, and the number of young people is decreasing. So, in order to counter this, we propose that H&M should move to prioritize a new target customer that is more in line with the demographic trend. Meet Barbara. Barbara is a woman aged 24 to 38, generally working or middle class. She's the mother of young children under the age of 18. She's very busy all the time, and she shops for the whole family. Her main needs are fashion with little effort. She doesn't have much time to look for the perfect look or the perfect style because she's very busy. Another big consideration is budget. Um, it's self-explanatory. And another big one is Barbara is looking for efficiency, and so she would prefer a one-stop shop for all of her needs. If possible, she would want to go to one place where she can buy everything she needs without having to worry about going to other places and looking at different things. So, in addition to being more in line with the demographic trend, Barbaras tend to be high-yield customers. They shop not only for themselves, but for the whole family. This means that every time a Barbara enters an H&M store looking for, say, a belt, there's a good chance that she will look over to the kids section or the men's section and think, oh, my son or my daughter or my husband needs something like that. And that is exactly what we want to see happen. The key is to get them to enter the store. Chances are that by the time that they're ready to leave, they will have seen something that someone else in the family needs. Someone always needs something, like t-shirts, socks, something. Instead of opening specialized H&M kids stores, or separate stores for brands in our portfolio that cater only to men or women, we should stock all of these different segments together in the same stores in order to take advantage of these Barbara's shopping habits. A bonus of this strategy is that by doing so, we would attract more Barbaras to our stores because that's exactly what they're looking for, a one-stop shop where they can buy clothes for the entire family with little effort. This would create a virtuous cycle that we should seek to take advantage of. Note that we're not saying that we should abandon our Alexandras. We still expect them to be solid consumers of our products in the future. We're just saying that our marketing, for example, should seek to attract an older target customer, which will be up to the marketing division to take care of. We might expect to see more babies and less David Beckham in our advertising from here on out. So this strategy would both relieve the pressure of the aging population in Europe by moving the target age higher, and it would expand our customer base for our products, so helping us defend sales and market share on home soil. A separate problem for H&M is especially felt in developed markets, and has to do with brand cannibalization. Here are again our main competitors and some of their main brands. We have positioned the brands according to the age group that they most specifically target. One can immediately notice that other companies have spread themselves out to cover a range of age groups with their different brands. H&M, however, has 6 brands that all target more or less the same basic customer, women between the ages of 18 and 27 with little variance among brands. This is highly inefficient since they compete with each other for customers, and H&M doesn't take advantage of doesn't tap into other markets that its competitors are already in. So just as an overview, here you see all of the H&M's brands clustered near the bottom in its age range. Inditex has a range. It's probably the company that spreads itself the most efficiently. Gap also has 4 main brands, but they all target different age groups. And fast retailing is more like us, but still targets a wide range of customers. We propose that. And another problem with our brands is that H&M is the main flagship brand, but the other ones, they produce the same types of similar styles of clothes, and they're all very small. There's very little brand awareness that goes with them, and there's a very small number of stores, standalone stores that carry these brands, only these brands' clothes. This is highly inefficient, since none of them can build enough brand equity to really grow and contribute meaningfully to sales. And although we don't report their income separately on our annual statements, many infer from this that a lot of these brands are losing money, actually. By eliminating some of them, we would eliminate competition among the brands, or at least by merging them into the same stores, we would also eliminate this problem. And as a way to sort of move into this space, targeting a higher target age, we propose that H&M open a new brand, launch a new brand aimed at young professional women, which would be in line with both our previous strategy of targeting an older customer base, as well as spreading out H&M's brands in order to cover different customer segments based on their age. This also, the young professional segment is also underserved. This is a problem that I, for one, am quite familiar with, since it's difficult to find clothes to wear for interviews as a young professional. All of these measures will help us defend sales and market share on home sale, just like the other strategy. And here to talk about strategy 2 is Huishan again.
Yeah, so our second strategy designed for the emerging market to pursue both the increase of market share and market size. And our strategy are designed in terms of 3 dimensions, including expansion, product, and distribution. And first, in expansion, we think the H&M should continue to expand in emerging markets, but with a focus on the second-tier cities. And for the product, we think that H&M should localize its design and product development in Asia by citing Asia Design Center to and continue its relationship with suppliers. And for the distribution channel, we think the H&M should work closely with the local online retail platform to create new channels. So our strategy actually is based on the market trend of the rise of emerging markets. From this graphic, you can see that it is estimated that in 2025, the emerging market will contribute to the most to the market's growth. And so such a market trend also is reflected by the sales performance of H&M. The left table is the net sales by country since 2011, and the table below is kind of change in net sales for these countries. We can see that for some emerging, although the US and some European countries contribute most to the sales of H&M, however, it is actually some emerging markets such as in China and Malaysia has the largest growth. You can see that the table, the cell colored in red. However, for some developed markets, the sales growth is slow or even negative, like this one. For instance, in Germany, although this country has the most stores, nearly 440 stores, however, its net sales increased only by 12% this year. Also, we found that when H&M is trying to enter the emerging market, it confronts 4 major challenges. The first one is from the strong performance of its global rivals, such as Inditex. For Inditex in its China market, it has more stores than H&M. Also, it has twice as much of its revenues than H&M. Also, it confronts the challenge from local competitors. For instance, in China, Meter Spongli is a kind of domestic fashion company with strong marketing strategy and brand awareness. And relying on its domestic advantage, such company gets over 1 billion sales in this year. However, for H&M, it only have 900 million sales in China market. And also, as we know that H&M rely on its independent suppliers, which means it outsources its production and manufacture process to the developing countries with lower labor costs. As the labor cost increases, the H&M over suffers a kind of increase in costs. As H&M tries to maintain its brand promise of lower prices for its customer, it has to swallow these increasing costs by themselves. So how to relieve such cost pressure is becoming a problem. And also the fourth challenge will be its current strategy, the global standardization, which means that all the customers around the world will receive the product and clothes with the same style. However, such globalization strategy doesn't work in some local markets. For instance, in China, H&M design collaboration with a European designer named Isabella Moran failed to meet the sales estimation, which means actually most of the Chinese customers do not know such European designers. So we think that in order to address its sales obstacles, H&M should continue to expand its stores in emerging market, however, with a focus on the second-tier cities. Why second-tier cities? Because we think that in the first place cities, H&M will face a strong competition from its global rivals and local competitors. However, in the second-tier city, the rent cost is lower and the market penetration is lower too. So, for instance, in China, the average retail costs in second-tier cities are 43% lower than in first-tier cities. Also, it is estimated that the population and citizens in the second-place cities will contribute most to the future market growth, and also will be the heavy spenders on fashion products. So by focusing on the second-tier cities, on the one side, H&M can expand its customer base, and on the other side, it can save its rent costs, which can help H&M have a cost advantage. But with this advantage, H&M can further support its expansion in emerging market, or to give back this advantage to consumer, which means H&M can continue its low price strategy. And in order to address its global standardization problem, we think H&M should conduct decentralization adjustment by establishing an Asian design center and developing products with more local style. Why exclusive design center? We think that right now H&M is heavily relying on its headquarters in Sweden, which means that first, its in-house designers will send their requirement and design plan to the suppliers. However, nearly 70% of suppliers are from Asia. So once these suppliers finish their manufacturing process, they will send back their products to the headquarters, and then the headquarters once again distribute these products to all around the world. So it will generate a large amount of transportation costs. So by set Asia design center, we think that this center can directly communicate with the suppliers in emerging markets. So by setting design center, on the one side, H&M can help its product accomplish localization and further shorten their lead time, and also tailor to the local taste with more products with a more local style, and also create new demand. And at the other hand, they can also help H&M save transportation costs, also win an advantage in cost. So for the distribution channel, we think that H&M should work closely with the local online retail platform to adapt to the young generation's consumption pattern and to further penetrate the emerging market. Why local online retail platform? We think first, the young generations are more likely to engage in the online shopping activity, and also some large local retail platforms can reach out to larger customer base. For instance, Taobao is the biggest online platform in China. It has 128 million daily unique visitors. However, for H&M, its own online stores only have 1 million daily unique visitors. We think that some global competitors for H&M has already worked with the local online retailer, online platforms, such as Uniqlo. It worked with Taobao several years ago, and it generates 60% of its online sales through that platform. One question is that whether such strategy will impact its sales in physical stores. The answer is no, because according to the data from Uniqlo, 2/3 of its online sales went to the areas without physical stores. So we think that by working with online retail platforms, H&M can create new channels to reach out young generation and to expand its customer base, and to serve its goal of the increase of market share and market size. And on the other hand, it can relieve the concerns of fewer stores than competitors. For instance, in China, Zara has over 400 stores. However, H&M only have 200 physical stores. So such strategy can also help H&M to increase its capability. So here's a review of our strategy. Our goal is to help H&M to increase its sales by 15%. And we think as H&M has different market position in different markets, we work out two strategies, one is for the developed countries and one is for emerging market. And for the emerging developed country, we think H&M should maintain its leading position in developed markets through adapting to aging population, retargeting its customer to Barbara, and also reorganize its brands to create a young professional brand. And for the emerging market, we think it should continue its expansion strategy, but with a focus on the second-layer cities, and also conduct design localization by setting an Asian design center. Also to create a new channels through working with local online platforms. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Harrison. Sorry for all the technical problems.